First, 2013 began like any normal day here at the Westgate shopping mall. The shoppers were shopping, the bankers were banking, and the folks going to the restaurants were sitting down to their morning coffee. A normal day in the history of this nation. Until right about noon, when several gunmen literally shot their way into the mall and held it for siege for more than 4 days. By the time it was over, scores had been killed, hundreds injured. And on this 5th anniversary, for the very first time, we're going to be talking with what we call the first responders, civilians who risked both life and limb getting into the mall and rescuing literally hundreds and hundreds of people. They've never told their story before. This is the first time you're going to be hearing from them. And their stories are both captivating and heartbreaking at the same time.
Brave guys, PPE, personal protection equipment. Everybody's got their ears and eyes on the line?
Yeah.
Awesome, fantastic.
Led by then 46-year-old Inayat Kassam, a local Kenyan professional firearms instructor and trainer, they managed to rescue more than 600 people in what can only be described as an act of bravery and heroism. Now, in order to understand just what it took to retake the siege of Westgate, we have to go back and revisit that fateful day 5 years ago.
We were at a shooting competition that had been organized by the association, and I think we were around 30, 40 of us.
And I got the first call, and the caller said, "Shots fired, Westgate." I said, "Okay, what does it look like?" He says, "It's multiple rounds." Well, I'm not standing up and looking, we're all ducked down. Please help us.
So Inayat advised me that basically the best thing to do is to get out of the situation if you can.
So I said, okay, stay where you are. I'm sending assistance.
So we could hear him. I mean, he's responding to the phone call and saying, "Grenades." So wondering, you know, we're there wondering, okay, what's happening? And when he got off the phone, he said, you know, he thinks there's a terrorist attack.
Another call came through, and we realized that it was, or he realized it was more than an armed robbery. And he gave some instructions around him, jumped in his car, and told me to get in the car with him, and we started moving towards Nairobi.
He grabbed his gear and looked for volunteers. Peter Bondi Wilson was the only one willing to go with him.
There was no time to get involved, trying to talk to everyone, explain, because at that time we were also not 100% sure. It was just my mind telling me this is a terrorist attack, not concrete information.
As you were driving closer and closer towards Westgate, obviously you got more and more information.
Yes.
Kept coming in.
The phone was swish. Yeah, busy on the phone. Peter was handling the phones for me. He was handling the comms for me, pressing PTT so I could communicate to the rest of the guys out there, tell them what we need to do. Yeah, we need to cordon the area off, inform traffic, inform Spring Valley Police Station, inform Parklands, inform Nairobi headquarters. This thing is going south. Inform the hospitals.
So you eventually get to Westgate, right?
Yeah.
You're there. What are you seeing? I mean, is it panic, pandemonium everywhere? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I was already in comms with a gentleman by the name of Peter Meta, Tango 1. And they told me exactly where he was. Ducking and diving, got as close. I couldn't see him, but he had a visual on me. So he said, okay, stay where you are, I can see you. They'd already taken cover.
There was people stuck on the ramp from the entrance into the basement parking. There was cars, there was people hiding in the cars, and because nobody knew where any of the shooters were, there was no movement and nobody was trying to get out. And at some point, there was an effort made to try and get some of those people out of the parked cars, and we assisted with that. And then next I know Inayat had talked to various people trying to establish what is going on, and next I know Inayat is moving up the ramp towards the second floor parking.
So you knew you were entering a hostile environment?
Straight away. straight away.
Well, people calling you and saying, my family's in there.
Yes, all the way. As soon as we left the range, as we were driving down, that phone was busy. Yes.
So you knew.
Including the other gentleman.
Sabir.
Yes.
Sabir, yeah.
He was at the movies with his wife. He called in, he says, this is not looking good.
We were a group of us. We had some Kenyans, we had some Italians, we had an American lady who was pregnant. And everyone was now at panic mode. And as we were looking at the balcony, we had some shots fired towards us, literally just past us in front, me and my wife and a gentleman on the other side.
We met up with Tangoan
Peter.
And Peter. We went closer. We took cover, went as close to the cubicle as possible where the search area is. And we could see a few injured persons coming out, so vehicles blocked, so already ambulances were coming in that we had activated. In the interim, we'd also got Oswald Center to open its gates and allow casualties in. Ambulances were coming via there. The first port of call was Oswald Center for us. So it was our temporary sort of, they acted as a command center for us, a disaster management center. So we were sending everybody in that direction. As soon as we got to the cubicle, obviously there's bullets bouncing everywhere. Everybody is ducking and diving. And we tried to move a few vehicles to get the ambulances closer so we could get the casualties out. And I was screaming my head off, I need officers, let's go in. So it was not a conscious decision. So if you ask me, were we prepared for this sort of a scenario? No, we were not. Myself, personally speaking, no, we were not. There was a time I remember I was trying to go in and Tangoan held me back and he says, no, let's have a plan, let's strategize. And again, I started doing something else. I remember moving a few injured from the car. And again, this time he was still holding on to me and we could hear screams.
By the way, this is the first time in 5 years that Inayat has opened up about Westgate. And the wave of emotions come flooding back like it was yesterday.
It kicked in once we hit the parking area, where the food and all that was going on. So yeah, that's where reality truly, because the shots were getting now even closer and we could see the damage, the mass casualty, fatality. Yes.
Did you think at some point, you know what? I can get killed in this thing. I might die here today. Did it go through your mind?
At the entrance, just before entering. So I said,
We resumed the interview a few minutes later, and it's clear that Inayat has been holding back his feelings from that day. Have a cigarette.
yeah.
Okay. Inayat, obviously, it's very emotional for you. This is the very first time you're talking about Westgate in 5 years. First time. And of course, the images must be streaming back. Must be streaming back. How do you feel now, 5 years later? Do you still feel, look, man, so much more could have been done? Even though no one was prepared.
Yeah. True, we could have. The more lives we save, the better. We got hundreds out.
We tried to get permission to film inside Westgate, but the management vehemently refused. Perhaps the wounds are still raw and the memories too vivid and painful. Nevertheless, we are able to walk right in front of the mall, and Inayat and Peter describe how they were able to get inside the premises and into the biggest siege in Kenyan history. So explain to me. So you enter one shop, there's let's say a dozen people, scared to death, of course, right?
You don't see them in the first entry. They're all hidden.
Right. So what do you say? What are you saying? Hey, guy, anybody here? Or
we say it out in English, say it out in Kiswahili, say it out in whatever languages we could think of at the time, so that whoever is hiding can understand that we are out to help.
And as they're coming out, what do you do? You direct them out? There's people
against the wall with your hands up high. The crowd that you're seeing coming up, the whole line, streamline with their hands shoulder high. Were instructions, I was screaming and shouting in there. Hands high, keep your bodies against the wall. because there was bullets flying everywhere. So the only little cover we had from every foyer or landing was against the wall.
Peter, there's a story you were telling us that at some point you went and were trying to rescue people, and they were asking you, hey, because the door was closed, they said, show me your ID, show me your ID.
They were, in fact, they were talking to Inayat,
Yeah.
saying, show me ID,
Yes.
and standing behind glass. It was an Airtel shop, yes,
Right,
and there was...
right. And you're there saying open, you know.
Yes, so there was a mixed crowd, all nationalities in there, and this particular nationality says, I need to see your ID. And we're like, hang on, shots flying everywhere. You can see guns around you. We can, you know, we don't mean you any harm. We could go through this glass.
Yes.
We could break in. We're asking you to open so we could, you know. So I had to produce some sort of ID and stuck it on the glass.
All this time, weren't you thinking, you know, safety is key here, and you've put your lives on the line here. Weren't you thinking safety?
Safety is key. It was key the whole day. That's, you know, every action where there was a consideration of safety, going slow, moving with deliberation, so that we did not make any mistakes. Safety of the people that are coming out. That's why Inayat is saying against the wall. Their safety was also very important, of course. Absolutely.
And for us, I mean, with community policing over 2 decades, safety is the key. We've done this many a times, attended to different scenarios, assisted wherever we can, and safety is paramount, yes. That is second nature. There is no thought process for that. It just goes to autopilot.
So you go shop after shop after shop, literally getting people out, getting them to safety, shop after shop. At some point, did you feel, you know what, our lives are in danger at this point, or we've done enough? You know, this is how people feel. We've done enough. Was that going through your mind?
Yeah. Each time you finish one shop and you think you're done, and the heat's getting closer, we say one more shop. And that's what drove us. One more shop. Let's get another life, and the numbers kept on increasing until, yeah, we finished whenever time it was around. We left around 9.
Gentlemen, let's walk. As we walk, actually, it's funny. 5 years later, Peter, do you guys still come here? Do you guys visit this mall?
I come here quite regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah, on and off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First time you came back, was it eerie for you? Was it kind of a?
First time Peter had to bring me here.
Is that right? Yeah. You couldn't. Yeah. You didn't have the strength.
No.
Was it tough?
Yeah. It was tough. It was tough.
Peter, for you?
It was the first time there was I could feel the adrenaline was pumping in my body as I walked through the doors and walking around. Absolutely.
And now?
Now we frequent it more often. We have fun here. This is a nice place. I like it. Yeah.
I think it's human nature to move on.
Away from the crowds and the madness, Inayat takes refuge in running self-defense classes for individuals, corporates, and even security firms, including licensed gun holders. He is the only internationally certified trainer in Africa, outside South Africa. A trainer of trainers, if you will. And for the 51-year-old, it is a labor of love. In case you're wondering if Inayat and the other courageous heroes were ever commended or recognized.
Yeah, I guess. We did get I did personally get a handshake from the then British ambassador. He invited us over to his residence and shook our hand for saving whatever. And we had a lady from counter-terrorism at the time who had flown down especially for that function, for a small cocktail as such, and congratulated us and said, Asante Sana.
Inayat pulls out a laminated paper and shows it to us.
This was prepared by my little one. I can imagine what she was going through, seeing all this on TV and blah, 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 and sat down and done this in my absence. When I got home at around 4 in the morning, I find this on the dining table. No recognition can supersede this. So that's my medal, and that's my certificate, and then that's my proof.
Yeah, people thought these were Israeli commandos who had been flown in to rescue the folks in Westgate. That's what people were saying. And it was Inayat Kasam.
Sio lazima uwe Mkenya kufanya hiyo kazi tulifanya. Sisi tulikuwa na bahati, tulienda tukafanya hiyo kazi. Na sisi ni wa Kenya.
Inayat and Peter insist they don't need any credit for what they did during those 4 days of madness and mayhem. They instead prefer to be out here, making sure that, God forbid, if another Westgate were to happen, more people would be prepared, and more importantly, more lives would be saved.